In this video, I'm going to walk through applications of Revoice Pro in several post-production scenarios, including dialogue replacement and voiceovers. In my first example, I'm going to show you how Revoice Pro can automatically lip-sync replacement dialogue from the same actor. Here's a short advertisement that's been shot and edited.
Now we have a young family, we need to think about the future. We need the best possible pension we can afford.
So as you can hear, that was the location audio. So one solution would be to replace the original recording with ADR from the same actress. But usually when we do ADR, the new audio is rarely in sync. Here's the ADR track.
Now we have a young family, we need to think about the future. We need the best possible pension we can afford.
So the solution is to use Revoice Pro to get a very tight lip sync automatically. So in Pro Tools, I'm going to show you how to get ADR in sync quickly using Pro Tools with Revoice Pro's Quick APT AAX plugin. To do this, I'm going to go to Audio Suite, go down to Other, and choose Revoice Pro APT. Shows up right here. Now, as you can see, the capture guide is already checked. So I'm going to highlight the guide in Pro Tools and press Capture. And now you can see that the capture dub is already checked. So I'll go to my dub, which is my ADR track, and press Capture. Now I'm going to highlight a small block in the Pro Tools empty destination track that I've created and named Aligned After. This is going to tell the plugin where to put the result back to. And when I'm ready, I'll press Spot. And within seconds, we have an aligned ADR track. So with Pro Tools Quick APT, after capturing the dub, Revoice Pro automatically processes the two tracks to create an output in the third track.
Now we have a young family, we need to think about the future. We need the best possible pension we can afford.
Let's do the before. Here's the ADR track.
We need the best possible pension we can afford.
And here's the aligned ADR with Revoice Pro.
We need the best possible pension we can afford.
There might even be a requirement to use a completely different voice to achieve regionalization. So for example, here's an actress with a different accent.
Now we have a young family, we need to think about the future. We need the best possible pension we can afford.
Let's follow the same steps as earlier to align this new voice actress with our guide audio. My capture guide is already checked. I'll click on it and choose Capture. And I'm going to go to my regionalization track and press Capture because Capture Dub is checked. I'll make a new block down here and press Spot. And now let's have a listen to our aligned voice actress with a different accent.
Now we have a young family, we need to think about the future. We need the best possible pension we can afford.
Here's before.
We need the best possible pension we can afford.
And here's after with Revoice Pro.
We need the best possible pension we can afford.
Another possible scenario is that it might be necessary to change the voice of the actress for a humorous effect. So here's a male voice.
Now we have a young family, we need to think about the future. We need the best possible pension we can afford.
So what I'll do is select my guide once more, press Capture, and select my male ADR, and press Capture. Now I'll create another space and spot it in.
Now we have a young family, we need to think about the future. We need the best possible pension we can afford.
So in seconds, we can align and tighten a variety of voices to a guide track using Revoice Pro's Quick APT AAX plugin in Pro Tools. I should mention that Revoice Pro is also great for syncing pre-recorded vocal tracks in musicals or music videos, as long as there are guide tracks shot during filming. Most other DAWs also work with Revoice Pro, but the workflow might be slightly different and depend on the DAW's handling of audio. Let's explore some more features of Revoice Pro with some other examples. In this scenario, I'm going to present two examples that show how Revoice Pro can transfer the intonation or pitch pattern of one voice recording to another. This can be useful for dialogue replacement and getting a studio performance to more closely match the levels and patterns of pitch delivered during the filming. So for example, I have two tracks from an ADR session here. Track 1 is the guide, shot on location with a German actor, and track 2 is the dub, which is an ADR recording of a completely different actor with a North American accent. Here's the guide.
Oh, I should have told you. Little John claims the process is not a comfortable one.
So as you can hear, there's a lot of noise, and there's also an accent. Now I'll play the replacement dialogue.
Oh, I should have told you. Little John claims the process is not a comfortable one.
So as you can hear, that's a completely different actor. It's a cleaner recording too, and there's a different pronunciation of certain words used in the guide. Now I'll play them together so you can hear how things line up.
Oh, I should have told you. Little John claims the process is not a comfortable one.
So we're noticing a few things here. They're out of sync and they have different pitch patterns. So I'll insert an APT process by pressing B. I'm going to choose the guide as my selected audio. Tight timing only will be my preset. I'll make sure in the inputs and outputs that my guide is my guide track, my dub track is dub, and my output is output right here. And now I'll press New Process. Notice this gray scale display along the bottom of the track window? This gets brighter where more time in pitch processing is happening. This is to help locate where to listen most carefully to check that there are no artifacts. So if I press the E key, it'll allow us to hear tracks 1 and tracks 3, so the guide and the output, together.
Oh, I should have told you. Little John claims the process is not a comfortable one.
So you can hear that it's very well synchronized, but you'll notice that the intonation of certain words in the output don't match the guide's words. For example, I'll create a playback region, and I'll play back the guide, and I want you to listen for the words told you.
I should have told you. I should have told you.
So as you can hear, he goes up in pitch when he says told you.
I should have told you.
Whereas the dub track goes a different direction on the word told you.
I should have told you. I should have told you.
He goes down. So if we want the output to have the same pitch pattern as the guide, I'm going to open the process window by pressing P and tick the pitch box. I'll make sure that my tolerance is low, transfer strength at 100. One thing about the transfer strength slider, if I have it set to 100%, it'll set the pitch pattern of the output as close to the guide's pitch pattern as possible. If I slide it down to 0, watch as the pitch pattern slowly conforms to the original pitch pattern of the dub. You might think of this transfer strength slider as a wet-dry mix between the guide's pitch pattern and the dub's pitch pattern. So now let's go back and listen to the output to see how Revoice Pro has aligned the pitch of the output to the guide, specifically with respect to the words told you. Here's the guide.
I should have told you.
And here's the output after we've aligned the pitch pattern.
I should have told you. I should have told you.
And here's the dub.
I should have told you. I should have told you.
Once more, the guide.
I should have told you.
The dub.
I should have told you.
And the output.
I should have told you.
I'll press E to hear the guide and the output together.
I should have told you. I should have told you.
And now let's listen just to the output on its own. I'll make another playback region.
Oh, I should have told you. Little John claims the process is not a comfortable one.
So even with all the noise of the guide track, we've managed to transfer its pitch pattern and timing to the dub. Now I'd like to show you another example. So what I have here is a voiceover that has a unique issue. I'm going to start playback from the middle section. Have a listen.
Recruiting women is a radical step in a country where most are forbidden from working.
Now that's actually how the sentence was recorded, with the last half in front of the first half. But the editor wanted to turn it around so that it sounds like this.
In a country where most are forbidden from working, recruiting women is a radical step.
So you'll notice, as it's laid out in Revoice Pro from left to right, the sentence goes down in energy at the beginning and then picks up energy at the end. Have a listen.
In a country where most are forbidden from working, recruiting women is a radical step.
So in this case, the director has decided how he wants the first section of her phrase to sound. He's recorded it here. Let's have a listen.
In a country where most are forbidden from working.
In other words, the director wants the track to sound like this.
In a country where most are forbidden from working.
Recruiting women is a radical step.
As opposed to this.
In a country where most are forbidden from working, recruiting women is a radical step.
So what I'm going to do is transfer the pitch pattern of the director onto the pitch pattern of the voiceover by inserting an APT. I'll press B, We'll use the selected dub audio, which is in green here, to determine the length of the process. And I'm going to choose intonation transfer as my preset. I'll make sure that in the input and output section, my guide track is the director, my dub is the voiceover, and the output is VO output right over there. And now I'll press New Process. Now there's no reason to use that part of the empty waveform as an input, so what I'm going to do is just bring this back to about here. So we'll stop the input of the guide there. But we will use the entire length of the dub. So what I'll do is insert a protected range at the end of the voiceover to keep the timing and the pitch of the final section of that phrase intact. I'll right-click and choose Protect Timing and Pitch. And now I'll drag this out all the way to the end of that sentence. And now let's have a listen back to just the output. I'll insert a playback range, press A, and then play it back.
In a country where most are forbidden from working.
So here's before. I'm going to press D for the dub.
In a country where most are forbidden from working. Recruiting women is a radical step.
And after.
In a country where most are forbidden from working. Recruiting women is a radical step.
And one more time, here's the director's pitch pattern.
In a country where most are forbidden from working.
In a country where most are forbidden from working.
So now we have a natural sound across the boundary, and we've changed the end of a sentence to the middle of a sentence. I hope the examples we've explored today offer insight into the unequaled range of automatic time-saving and performance-saving techniques offered only by Revoice Pro. For more information about Revoice Pro and other SynchroArts products, head to synchroarts.com.